Okay, welcome to this meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee. My name is Martin Newton from Democratic Services, and the subcommittee today is made up of Councillors Self, Sweeney and Thompson. The first item is the appointment of chair. May I ask subcommittee members to nominate a chair for the meeting?
I nominate Councillor Sweeney.
Thank you, and I'd like to second that.
And is that agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you. Councillor Sweeney in the chair.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, welcome everyone to this licensing subcommittee on the 5th of May 2020. As attendees here will know, this meeting is being broadcast live on the council's YouTube channel, and the recording will be available shortly after the meeting. And the agenda is available to view on the council's website, and by following the links on, your council, then go to democracy and elections, and then decision making and committees. You will find the agenda there. We have also received late material, which has been published and circulated, and this confirms an amendment to the application and revised conditions. The quorum for this meeting is 3 members. Under these new procedures, all will need to be present at all times during the meeting to ensure we are able to make a decision on the licensing application. In the event that any subcommittee members or the legal advisor lose connection during the hearing, we will pause to allow them to rejoin as soon as possible. So to help to reduce feedback, can I ask everyone joining by video to mute their microphone when they are not speaking? And the quickest way to do that is to press Control and D, and that turns your microphone on and off. After the subcommittee has heard each submission, I will ask if members have any questions on the submission. Members can indicate also that they wish to speak by using the meeting chat function. Please do not use the meeting chat function to ask questions of officers or councillors, and remember that all meeting participants on the video call will be able to see what has been entered in the chat. Please also ensure that your mobile phones are switched off or in silent mode for the duration of the meeting. I will now introduce the other participants in the meeting, and if they could just acknowledge that they're present. Councillor Self.
Good morning,
Councillor.
Good morning, everybody. Hello.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson.
Present.
Officer Guy Bishop, legal advisor.
Morning. Good morning.
Marcella Basso, licensing officer.
Good morning, everyone.
Gary Marson, Democratic Services.
Good morning, Chair.
Fiona Cotter, Democratic Services.
Good morning, Chair.
And on behalf of the applicant, JD Wetherspoon PLC, do we have Nigel Connor present?
We do, Councillor, thank you.
And Miles Slade.
Yes, I'm present, thank you.
Good, okay. Rather like a school register that was. So on to the next item of business. Does any member of the subcommittee have a personal or pecuniary interest to declare?
No, I don't.
No, I can confirm that I have no interest to declare.
And I declare that I have no pecuniary interest to declare either. So the third item of business is the minutes of the 2 meetings of the subcommittee held on the 17th of March. They have been circulated. Are there any objections to approving those minutes as correct?
No, not for me.
Okay. Thank you. I will sign those minutes at the convenient.
So I'm in agreement.
Great. Thank you. We lost Nigel, but I think he's now back online. Okay.
I'm back on. I clicked an errant button. My apologies.
Don't worry. Okay. Thank you. Right. So the fourth item is really just to start hearing this application. This will be done under the usual procedures of licensing applications, which the parties have already been notified. Just hearing a little bit of noise, so I'm just going to mute everyone. Okay. The parties have already been notified of the usual procedures for licensing hearings as set out on pages 4 to 6 of the agenda, and paragraph 55 on page 5 details with notifications of the decision following the subcommittee's deliberation. So I will confirm that during the period that these hearings are held remotely, the decision will be confirmed by email later in the day to avoid participants having to wait online whilst the subcommittee reaches its decision. Are there any objections to the proceeding on the basis of those procedures?
None from the applicant.
Okay, thank you. This application is for the premises The Watchman, which is located on 184 High Street, New Malden. I now call on Marcella Basso, the licensing officer, to introduce the report on the application. Marcella, over to you.
Thank you very much, Chair. This application relating to the Watchman, 184 High Street, New Malden, KT3 4ES, was made on the 2nd of March 2020 by JD Wetherspoon plc. The application seeks a variation to their existing premises license to permit the sale by retail of alcohol on and off the premises Monday to Sunday from 9 AM to midnight, the provision of late night refreshment Monday to Sunday from 11 PM to midnight, with revised opening hours of Monday to Sunday from 8 AM to midnight. Initially, the application also sought to remove condition 12 in Annex 2 of the premises license relating to entertainment. However, this element of the application was withdrawn on the 1st of May. Relevant pages of the application form as initially submitted are attached at Annex 1. The current premises license is attached as Annex 2, and the current and proposed hours of operation are laid out in Annex 3 of the licensing report. I confirm that the applicant has advertised the application by way of public notice displayed at the premises and in a local newspaper. The application has also been made available on the Council's website. I confirm that all responsible authorities received a copy of the application. The Metropolitan Police, as responsible authority for the prevention of crime and disorder, made a representation to the application. The representation is attached at Annex 4. However, after publication of this licensing report, a mediation took place between the applicant and the Metropolitan Police. The applicant confirmed on the 1st of May that they wish to amend their application by withdrawing the element of the application which sought the removal of condition 12 in Annex 2, which states, "No televisions or screens are permitted in the licensed area, nor any music of any kind." This condition, therefore, will remain on the premises license. In addition, the applicant has addressed the concerns of the Metropolitan Police by making amendments to their operating schedule. These amendments are reflected in the conditions shown in late material. In light of these amendments, the representation made by the Metropolitan Police has been satisfied, and the police withdrew their objection on the 1st of May. In accordance with the Council's licensing policy, 1,111 addresses were consulted in writing and informed that an application had been received. 4 valid representations were received from other persons. The representations make reference to matters that relate to all 4 licensing objectives. Copies of the representations are attached at Annex 5. In considering this report, the subcommittee is required to take into account the Secretary of State's guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003, our licensing policy, and the licensing objectives. You are asked to determine the application having regard to the representations received and any evidence heard at the hearing, in line with the options set out in paragraph 11 of this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Basso. I now turn to councillors on the committee and ask them, do you have any questions? So, Councillor Self, do you have any questions for Marcella?
Sorry, Chair. I think I'm on now. Yeah, good. Not for Marcella, no. And you're still on mute, John.
Sorry, Councillor Thompson, do you have any questions for Marcella?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I now call upon the applicant, I think is it Nigel Connor, on behalf of JD Wetherspoon, to give a summary of the application. Mr. Connor, would you like to...
Thank you, Chair. What I would propose is that I'll make some opening submissions, and my colleague, Mr. Slade, who is the regional operations manager, effectively in charge of these premises, will then be able to answer any more premises-specific operational questions which I can't address and which you may wish to address to us. I can confirm that the application is outlined by Ms. Basso. I'm grateful for that complete report. I'm grateful as well for the cooperation of the Metropolitan Police in addressing their representation. I'm sorry it was somewhat late in the day, but we are operating under somewhat reduced circumstances at the company, but nonetheless we did get there in the end, and I'm grateful for that. Just by way of background, Chair, the premises opened in April 2012. As you may know, it's the site of the former police station in New Malden. We operate as a standard JD Wetherspoon with no music or any other form of entertainment. Food is provided at the premises from opening all the way through until 2300 each night. It's one of a number of our premises where food sales actually outweigh alcohol sales, so it really is a very food-led premises. The current licence allows sale of alcohol from 9 o'clock in the morning to 11 p.m. Monday to Thursday, 11:30 Friday and Saturday, and 10:30 on Sunday, with 30 minutes wind down. What we wanted to do, having operated really for over 8 years and seen the nature of these premises becoming very much more food-led, is to slightly extend those terminal hours, simply to allow those people who wish to eat later on in the evening to remain on the premises for the duration of the meal and a period slightly afterwards. So it's not really an application which has been driven by the demands of our alcohol-led custom, but more of our food-led custom. We have got planning permission for the additional hours, the grant of which prompted the making of this application that was granted earlier this year. So there's going to be no change in style or operation of the premises. As you know, we've liaised with the Metropolitan Police and agreed a number of conditions. Some of those conditions are new conditions in relation to satisfying their concerns about longer hours. Some of those are updated conditions which already appear on the premises licence. Both of us felt it would be opportune to try and amend those to bring them more up to date and perhaps introduce some clarity in how those conditions were worded. We've noted the residential representations, Chair, and I'd make the following points in connection with those. It's not a premises with any track record of disorder or violence. The clientele is predominantly local, regular, and very mixed in its age and clientele, and that's in common with really all our premises. We don't provide any music, we don't provide any entertainment, so we do tend to attract quite a wide range of people who want to come and eat and drink with us. So we're not anticipating that customer base or the character or the type of premises will change at all. And the police are obviously content with the application as it now stands, which I'd ask you and your fellow committee members to bear in mind when addressing some of the concerns regarding crime and disorder which have been raised by the local residents. We have as well maintained a good relationship with our neighbours and the local community. I've been working in my role dealing with licensing matters for the company for over 10 years. I was involved actually with the a grant of this licence back in 2012. And there hasn't been any residential experience issues in my experience from noise or nuisance, etc. And there isn't any HO representation, which you might anticipate there would be if there had been a track record of noise issues with the local community and with our residents. One of the representations, the more detailed representation, references the fact that the premises are seeking to encourage irresponsible consumption. That's certainly not the case. We have a number of long-established management procedures in place at the premises to promote the licensing objectives, and those have been fine-tuned over the years, really, in respect of all our estate, with over 870 pubs, and our policies are very much standard in each pub, whether that be Challenge 21 to stop underage drinkers accessing alcohol, whether that be Don't Do Drunk, which is our policy to stop excessive consumption of alcohol. All these policies are regularly trained to all staff members at every level. We don't have any time-limited drinks promotions or happy hours. Our drinks promotions are linked generally to food, such as drinks with our club meals, beer and burger, etc. There isn't anything which would really encourage a customer to drink to excess for economic or time-led reasons. We've got CCTV throughout the premises, both in and out. Door supervisors are in place on a Friday and Saturday. There isn't a specific condition on the premises licence requiring that, but we risk assess the need for door supervisors along with other security and management measures and apply them when necessary. You will note, however, Chair, that there is a new condition on the premises licence which does provide for that risk assessment of door supervisors and carrying on. So it's not now voluntary, it is on the premises licence, which offers the police some assurance. We have traded for over 8 years. One of the residential representations raises the point that we're simply seeking to maximise profit and take advantage of longer hours. But really the decision to make this application has been a decision which has been considered for a long time. If we'd wanted really to take advantage of the longer hours, we could have made this application a long time ago. But really we feel, as we've traded responsibly in the area for a number of years, we've not had issues with the police, we've not had issues with local neighbours. And we do feel that it does complement the food-led nature of the premises. We feel now is the time to make that application. And we don't consider that the extension will raise the issues that the residents fear. So I'll throw the meeting back over to yourself, Chair, and if you have any questions, any of the officers or your fellow councillors, either myself or perhaps more fittingly Mr. Slade, will be more than happy to answer.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Start with asking if councillors have any questions. Councillor Self, do you have a question for the applicant?
Yes, I guess it is a question, really. It's just a point of clarification. You've come to an agreement that you originally asked for condition 12 to be deleted. That you've now agreed that condition 12 will remain, which says that there will not be. This relates to live music or TV screens that could be show sport, etc. In the last hour. On the late material condition, it's a bit of a point, just a particular point, but on the late material, the extra condition 1, the last sentence of that, I've given you a chance to get to it. If you like, I can pause for a moment. The last sentence of that says the risk assessment shall pay particular regard to sporting events which are intended to be shown in the pub. That last sentence would seem to be superfluous now, so maybe that could be deleted. Does that? Would you agree with that? I don't think this is really just saying. When maybe that was put in before, I don't know, when condition 12 was still requested to be deleted. But have you got a comment on that? I think we could just delete that because it seems to be completely superfluous.
That's a very good spot, Councillor. Thank you very much. put those conditions in an email to the police in which we debated the issue of removal of the condition, and on balance the police felt they would rather not have it, and I agreed to that, but the condition needs to catch up. So I fully concur with that point you've made, and we'll be happy for the condition to be amended accordingly should the application be granted. Thank you.
Any other questions? I was asking.
Oh, I see. Sorry. I was going to add that the same applies to proposed condition 7, which obviously replicates 13 and 14 of the existing condition, albeit that it's changed for the purposes of mention of Burlington Avenue.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Bishop, that we just sought some clarity really on that condition. The original wording, I don't think was clear. I think we've hopefully just tried to make that slightly more clear at the police's suggestion. I'm just trying to find the conditions actually on the material, so bear with me. I'm on my iPad, which isn't ideal. Yeah, I mean, I would just suggest that those conditions remain as drafted unless there's any objection. As I say, they were just really put on for additional clarity.
Okay, I think that will be satisfied. Councillor Self, do you have any further questions?
Not at this moment, no. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Thompson, can I ask you, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Yes, please. Thank you. I note that by lengthening the terminal hour by an hour, you will also lengthening the sale of off-licence sales. I'm a little bit concerned that about what that actually means. If it's a case of people not having quite finished their bottle of wine and taking it home, then of course that's fine. But I am concerned that it might allow people to come into the premises 5 minutes before closing and buy off-licence alcohol, which would in fact, does have the possibility of causing nuisance to nearby neighbours if that is the case. Thank you.
Miles, would you like to address that point, perhaps?
Yes, absolutely, I can do. Good morning, everyone. The point is relevant, but ultimately we don't really do off sales in our pubs. We generally speaking don't sell beer for people to take away. It's not part of our business model. We don't act as an off license, and all of our alcohol is consumed on the premises. So that wouldn't happen anyway. We don't allow people to take drinks off site.
So what I would add.
Thank you, but it is in your it is in your sort of operating schedule. It does say that it's off license sales as well as. So it'd be difficult for you to refuse.
It does, Councillor. I think that's probably a throwback to the old sort of 1964 Licensing Act licenses, which allowed both on and off sales, which were then grandfathered over. But the majority, if not all of our sales, really relate to consumption on the premises. But then again, we would still like the flexibility to cover the circumstances which you describe, where somebody may just want to take a bottle of wine home with them, which they have consumed. We've certainly no experience of customers coming in, purchasing alcohol and then drinking it out on the streets. Of course, drink it in the outside areas of the premises, but there is a condition which is on the existing premises license, which is slightly revised, but still has exactly the same effect in terms of timing to prevent consumption of alcohol off the premises in those areas at the time, which it will cause disturbance to neighbours. So I think it's a fair point, but one which in reality has never been an issue at this premises or indeed any other of our premises. If people perhaps wanted to buy alcohol for consumption off the premises, there would be other places to do it where the alcohol would be cheaper.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any further questions, Councillor Thompson?
Yes, well, I did actually. It was about the outside area. If we grant this licence, and it means that you will be open for an extra hour, and people will be able to be outside in the summer, and presumably so they can smoke and so on, but also be on that terrace. Will there be any mitigation of the noise? Will you have signage, or will you have door staff or anybody else out there to try and ensure that people are reasonably quiet out there, and that they do disperse fairly quietly?
I'll answer that if I may. Our intention will not be to operate the outside area any longer than we currently do. It's in the interest of our neighbours, and we've always tried to behave in a way that is appropriate in those environments anyway. And we don't feel that operating the outside area any later would be of any benefit to us, and certainly not to our neighbours. So, bar for people going outside for a cigarette, that outside area would close as it does today.
Thank you. So you don't anticipate any increase in noise or public nuisance from the outside area late at night?
No, Councillor, because the hours of, as Mr. Slater said, the hours of operation as dictated by the condition are as they are currently. There is an area which the condition allows for people to smoke in, but if you look at the premises from Burlington Road, that's on the left-hand side of the doorway, which is specifically further away from where the residents are located. In terms of management, that area is supervised. People will monitor it. When people are out there drinking or eating before 2300, people will be coming in and out, members of staff to take drinks away, also to deliver drinks under the app. It's covered by CCTV, and one of the conditions agreed with the police provides for additional signage requiring customers to take into account our neighbours, not to make noise, etc. So there will be mitigation measures in place, as you suggest, but
what time
we're in essence doing no different to what we do currently.
What time does the outside area close?
2300, Mr. Bishop. 2300 for, well, part of it closes completely for any use, and part of it, and this is I'll just stress, this is the existing arrangement, part of it is open for smokers after 2300. But I think the relevant point is that after 2300 there will be no food or drink being consumed in that area. And what we tend to find, because people can't take their drinks out, is that they will go outside for a cigarette and come back in very promptly. And we've managed this area in that way for the period since we've been open, in essence.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Any other further questions, Councillor Thompson?
No, thank you. That's fine. Thank you.
Okay. And I have no questions, so we can now move on to the responsible authorities if they're present. So as we know, and was circulated in the late material, the representations made by the responsible authorities, the Metropolitan Police, have now been satisfied by the applicant, and there are no further representations to consider from responsible authorities. We would like maybe you to comment. We've noted that there other persons have made voiced some concerns about the extension here, and I know you have spoke to it already in your summation, but could you just recap really, as those people aren't present today, what you can say to their concerns?
Miles, would you like to address that rather than just me replicate what I've said already, perhaps?
Yeah, sorry, I was just coming off mute. Yeah, of course, we've tried to behave as a responsible neighbour wherever we operate. I've been involved with this pub since the day it opened, and involved with London, running it for nearly 15 years. New Malden for us is since the day we opened it, has been an extremely food-led business, and our intention with the extension of the hours, as Nigel alluded to earlier on in the meeting, is really to allow diners in later into the business. Our standard opening hours for food, for example, are 11 p.m. in all of our estate, and we currently close our kitchen in New Malden at 10:30 due to the restriction in hours that we have there. In terms of addressing the neighbours and the concerns that they have, We do try to be proactive, and all of our managers are encouraged, and certainly Amy, the manager here, is encouraged to make contact with the neighbours in close proximity to the pub, and to try and alleviate any concerns that they may have, whether that be just with the dispersal of bins, etc., which can sometimes cause a nuisance, to anything day to day, maybe a bit of litter. What we'd be happy to undertake from this meeting today is to certainly conduct some more residents meetings, which we do in a number of our pubs, which is to allow the local residents to come to the pub and raise any concerns that they have, so that we can address them. But we try to be proactive in this area rather than reactive, as we feel if you get to a stage where you're being reactive to things that are going on, then it's gone too far already. So we'd certainly look to engage the neighbours again with a residents meeting following this, and certainly with the concerns they've raised for the meeting, if that answers your question.
Okay, thank you. I would just ask, Councillor Thompson, do you have any questions to Mr. Connor and Mr. Slade in relation to the written objections?
No, I think they've been answered. Thank you. And I would be very happy for there to be a residents meeting. I think that's excellent. Thank you.
And Councillor Self, do you have any questions with regard to the applicant?
No.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No, thank you, Chair. I don't have any further questions now.
And so I have no further questions as well. So now we come to the point where I would ask, would you now like to make any closing statements regarding your application?
I don't think so, Chair. I think it's been covered in the questions and the submissions made, and the contribution of Mr. Slade. I'd just simply like to thank you and your officers for facilitating the hearing in this fashion in the present circumstances, which is very welcome, and hopefully it worked positively from our perspective. And I'm grateful for all your efforts.
Yes, thank you very much.
Great, thank you. So yeah, normally we would have asked you to withdraw and wait until we had reached our verdict, but as mentioned previously, what we're going to do now is that the subcommittee members, the legal officer and the clerk, will withdraw to a private meeting area while the subcommittee makes its decision, and that decision will be confirmed to you by email today, and then the full decision later with reasons will be sent to all parties within 5 working days. So this draws our meeting to the end, but we will notify you, as I say. So I'm now looking to the Democratic Support Officers to terminate the meeting, and then we'll withdraw into our private meeting. So thank you very much for your attendance, and we're quite pleased now that we've got this first virtual meeting under our belt.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye.